Hello everyone, my name is Joseph and welcome back to the Popsicle Night channel. This video is sponsored by PTCGO the best place for you to get PTCGO code cards. Please use my code NIGHT22 at checkout so you can get a 5% discount. Help yourself out with the discount and thank you so much for helping support the content I create in this channel. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at Eiscue from the Brilliant Stars set. Eiscue is a basic Fusion Strike Pokemon with 110 HP, 1 retreat cost, no resistance, and is weak to metal. It has 2 attacks. The first one is Block Slider. For 1 water and 1 colorless energy, this attack will deal 40 damage times the number of Fusion Strike energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So depending on how many Fusion Strike energy you have in play, this attack can dish out anywhere from 40 to 160 damage. And this attack will be our main focus for this card because it allows you to attack your opponent's Pokemon whether it is on the active or on the bench, which makes this a great sniping option for Fusion Strike builds. And I've added Telescopic Sight, which will increase the attack damage output by 30 when we target our opponent's bench Pokemon V or GX. Its second attack is Icicle Missile. For 2 water and 1 colorless energy, it deals 100 damage. This can actually be a good standalone card as well, but for this build I'll be pairing it with Mew VMAX so that we can copy this attack, and this will allow Mew VMAX to now have a sniping attack on its arsenal. While Block Slider can be a strong attack, it does have a few drawbacks. First, if you lose your Fusion Strike energy, it will be difficult for you to recover them. Of course, without them, your attack power will decrease, and the only option we have in the standard format right now is Roseanne's Backup for Recovery, which has an option for recovering any 1 energy from the discard pile. And the second drawback is if your opponent uses Manaphy, because it has the Wave Veil ability, which prevents any attack damage from being dealt to your opponent's bench Pokemon. Although you can still use this attack to target the active Pokemon. So we'll test out Eiscue and see if it's even practical to include it in your Fusion Strike builds. But first, let's review this Mew VMAX build with Eiscue. And I've based this on the most common build for Mew VMAX with a few tweaks, so it's pretty optimal in my opinion. First, we have Mew V, and we're mainly going to focus on its Psychic Leap attack. For 1 purple and 1 colorless energy, it deals 70 damage, after which you have an option whether or not you want to shuffle this card and everything attached to it back to the deck. This is really great for getting out of a bad situation, especially if you're about to get knocked out. And then we have its Dynamax evolution, Mew VMAX. It has 2 attacks. The first one will be the most used attack, Cross Fusion Strike. For 2 colorless energy, you can choose 1 attack from any of your bench Fusion Strike Pokemon and use it as this attack. And regardless of the energy cost, it's just 2 colorless energy for Mew VMAX. And this is what will allow us to copy Eiscue's attack so that we can also snipe our opponent's bench Pokemon. And we can easily power up this attack with the double turbo energy. However, do keep in mind that with this energy attached, your attack damage output will be decreased by 20. Its second attack is Max Miracle. For 2 purple energy, it deals 130 damage, and this attack is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. And Meloetta is also a great attacker, and it fits in perfectly in this build. It has the attack Melodious Echo. For 1 purple and 1 colorless energy, this attack does 70 damage times the number of Fusion Strike energy attached to all of your Pokemon. This attack is so powerful, depending on how many Fusion Strike energy you have in play, this attack can deal anywhere from 70 to 280 damage, which pretty much one-hit KOs any VStar Pokemon. And if you didn't know already, you can deal an easy 210 damage on your first turn going second with Meloetta. If you can attach an initial Fusion Strike energy to Meloetta from your hand, and then use Alessa Sparkle to accelerate the second energy to Meloetta and another one to one of your other Pokemon, 3 Fusion Strike energy in play nets you 210 damage to Meloetta's attack. As for consistency, I have 4 copies of Genesect V with a powerful Fusion Strike system ability. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have as many cards in your hand as you have Fusion Strike Pokemon in play, and you can use this ability for each of your Genesect V you have in play. You should be able to draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand in most cases, since we're only using Fusion Strike Pokemon in this build. And the technique to this ability is to have as much usable item cards in your hand so that you can empty your hand as much as you want so you can draw more cards. However, this ability can easily get shut down with the Path to the Peak Stadium, and sometimes you might just lose because you can't set up. So it's always good to have an extra stadium on your hand so that you can easily bump out your opponent's stadium with your own. As for the rest of the deck, I have Battle BIP Pass. While you can only use this on your first turn, this allows you to search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put it straight to your bench. I also have Crymomatic. You have to discard an item card from your hand to use this, and if you do, flip a coin. If it's heads, you can get any 1 card from your deck. This is a powerful card, but it's not always 100% guaranteed. Next are Quick Ball and Ultra Balls to search out our Pokemon, and the prerequisite to use this card by discarding 1 or 2 cards from your hand is actually really useful, which makes it possible to thin out your hand to help Genesect V to draw into more cards. I also have Escape Rope and Switch as my switching options. Scoop Up Net is also great for removing our 1 prizers out of the active or making space on our bench. Pal Pad for recovering our supporter cards. A full set of Power Tablets, which increases the damage output of your Fusion Strike Pokemon's attack by 30 to your opponent's active Pokemon. Obviously, this will not add damage to your attack when targeting your opponent's benched Pokemon. So with this, you can add anywhere from 30 to 120 damage to your Pokemon's attacks. And we can add even further damage with the Choice Belt Tool card. This can add 30 damage to your Pokemon's attack against a Pokemon V. And I also have Rotom Phone. This allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You can choose one card to put on the top of your deck while you shuffle all the other cards back to the deck. This is great for singling out a certain card for your Genesect V to easily draw into. I also have a bunch of stadiums. First I have Rose Tower. Once per turn, this allows you to draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. Next is Galar Mine Stadium. This is great for trapping one of your opponent's Pokemon in the active while you snipe your opponent's bench Pokemon with Eiscue's attack. I also have Collapse Stadium. This prevents both players from having more than 4 Pokemon in their bench. This can be a good disruption in some cases, but also while this affects both players, this can help you remove liability from your bench. Because if you have a full bench of 5 Pokemon, and for example, one of them is a heavily damaged Mew VMAX, when you play the stadium, you can discard your Pokemon, which may remove any chances of your opponent from taking 3 prizes. And finally, I also added one Path to the Peak Stadium just because it can turn off all abilities of Pokemon with a rule box on it. This may seem counterproductive to our build, but when used properly, it has its advantages. For example, you may just be able to prevent Arceus VStar from using its ability, or maybe prevent Duraludon VMAX from blocking your attacks. As for my supporters, I have 3 Boss's Orders, Elesa Sparkle, which allows you to get 2 Fusion Strike energy from our deck and attach them straight to 2 different Fusion Strike Pokemon we have in play. And finally, 2 Marnies. This is great as an emergency draw support, but also a great disruption against our opponent. And after much testing, this build is actually not half bad. Since both Eiscue and Meloetta depends on how many Fusion Strike energy you have in play, it just makes perfect sense to have them both in a single deck. So now you have a strong attacker to the active Pokemon, and a strong attack to your opponent's bench Pokemon as well. And both of these Pokemon complements Mew VMAX very nicely. And that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below. And now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing the Fusion Strike Eiscue and Mew VMAX combo. Alright, let's get into our first match. I am going first. And you can actually go either way with this build. There are advantages to either going first or going second. If you go second, you can attack on your first turn going second. So if you can set up a Meloetta that can deal 210 damage, you can even really cripple your opponent when you knock out one of their Pokemon Vs. So, okay, we have Genesect V to go into the active, and we're going against an Eternatus V. Hopefully we can get heads here. Nice, we do. So what I'm going to do is grab a Battle VIP Pass that's going to get us 2 basic Pokemons to get set up on our bench. So I'm going to grab Meloetta, and I'm actually going to get Genesect V. So we have 2 Genesect Vs to draw into more cards each turn. And I have Ultra Ball, but I feel like I need all my cards here, so I'm just going to pass. So again, we have a disadvantage here. Our Mew VMAX is weak against Dark, so my opponent can definitely just get an easy 3 prize if they do knock out one of our Mew VMAX. So we have to be careful with that. I'm planning to do a little bit of disruption here, possibly Galar Mine Stadium, so that we can prevent them from escaping. Hopefully we can snipe some of their Pokemon in the bench and get a lot of prizes that way. So that's my initial strategy for the meantime. So they're going to attack for 30 damage against our Genesect V, and they're going to accelerate energy on their other Eternatus V. So that's not looking good. But you know what? We can actually knock out this active. What I could do is just use Elesa Sparkle, accelerate 2 Fusion Strike energy, and all we need is 1 more. I can use Power Tablet to increase attack, because Meloetta will deal 210 damage, but with the Power Tablet, we can deal an extra 30 damage and be able to knock out this Eternatus V. We do need to switch out our Genesect V though, but we'll need to draw into more cards, so we'll just use Quick Ball, get a Mew V, and that way we can draw 2 cards here. Get another Genesect, which is nice. Let's use Rotom Phone. Alright, we got a an Escape Rope, so we could use that to switch our Meloetta into the active. I mean, yeah, I'm thinking Ultra Ball 2, add more Pokemon on our bench so we can draw into more cards, but I'll just go with that for the meantime. We did get an Eiscue, so that's nice. That way we can draw into more cards with my Genesect. Hopefully we can draw into an extra energy here. I'll just attach the Choice Belt to increase our attack. But you know what? I think I might just have to save that Choice Belt moving forward. We did get a double turbo energy, so that's good. I may be able to attach that to Meloetta here, but it's not going to help to increase its attack. That's the thing. I'll use the Escape Rope to switch. We won't be able to use Cramomatic now because we don't have any more item cards on our hand. And I'm thinking to just save this Choice Belt because I might just put that on Mew VMAX and just deal a huge amount of damage against an Eternatus VMAX later on. I'm thinking of using this Path to the Peak because if they have Crobat V on hand, that's going to stop them. So I'm just going to attack with Meloetta, but you know what? I should have just left that Choice Belt and get a knockout from this Crobat V. But then again, they'll just easily knock out our Meloetta and we're going to lose it. So I might need that later on. But unfortunately, we weren't able to get our first 2 prizes with Crobat V. And either way, it's going to be... it won't be good for us because they have 2 attackers all ready to go after this turn. So they did Marnie me, but at least we got a Mew VMAX all set to go. Hopefully they don't have a boss and, you know, be able to evolve into an Eternatus VMAX. They might just knock it out. But I'm thinking we do have a boss though. I might just be able to deal a hefty amount of damage on one of their Eternatus V. I mean, they can knock out my Meloetta, but that's okay. At least I can have an initial damage to their Eternatus V, which is their primary attacker, and then Mew VMAX can just knock it out. And that's one step forward to, you know, winning this game after we... if they evolve it into Eternatus VMAX, we can get 3 prizes for that. So I think I'm just gonna Melodious Echo here. We're hitting for 120, which isn't bad, and we can probably finish it up in the next few turns if they do end up evolving it. It's gonna get us 3 prizes, but they're gonna boss my Genesect V. Okay, interesting move. And they're just gonna deal 30 damage. And you know, Path to the Peak. It might be counterproductive, but that's why I have Marnie in this build, and that's going to help us to draw into more cards. We did get 2 other stadiums, and we can easily just bump it out. But it should slow down our opponent here, because now, even if they evolve into Eternatus VMAX, they're not going to expand their bench. Or if they use Crobat V, it's not going to allow them to draw into more cards. So with the Rotom Phone, I put the Collapse Stadium on the top deck, because that can actually help us out against this matchup when we limit our opponent's bench size to 4. But I feel like I need to bump out my own Path to the Peak here because I need to set up. I need to be able to knock out this Eternatus V, and I need to draw into a switch. So we need our Genesect to draw into more cards. Still didn't get anything. We can't scoop up our active. So I'm just going to thin out my hand as much as possible. And I'm going to try and build up my Genesect V. We can use it to attack as well if we needed to. And I'm just going to put the Choice Belt onto Genesect V. And I'm just going to continue to draw. Hopefully we can draw into a switch card here. We didn't get it, but we did get an Ultra Ball, which we can use to thin out our hand by discarding 2 of our cards here. I'll just discard these 2. So we have 1 Escape Rope and 2 Switch. So out of 21 cards, can we draw it? So let's go ahead and use Genesect V to draw. Sure enough, there, there it is. Let's go. So I'm going to use this to switch my Meloetta into the active, and then we can get a knockout from this Eternatus V. So this is a big move because now we eliminated 1 of their main attackers, and that leaves 1 Eternatus V on our opponent's field. But if they do evolve into an Eternatus VMAX, that's going to be a bad thing. Because now they're going to attack for a lot of damage, and they're slowly building up their bench here. And if they can build up another attacker, that's going to be bad too. But then again, we have Collapse Stadium, so we should be okay. So they will be able to evolve into an Eternatus VMAX, and they have a Quick Ball. They're probably going to grab a Crobat here. because the Path to the Peak is not there to stop its ability. And that's what I mean with Path to the Peak. You know, if you use it wisely, you should be okay. We already did use up one power tablet though, and we have one boss on the discard pile. So we won't, I don't think we can build up enough damage to knock out an Eternatus VMAX with our Mew. So we already lost one Fusion Strike, so we won't be able to use Meloetta's attack to deal enough damage to knock out an Eternatus VMAX. It's just way too bulky. I'm thinking which one to put into my active. I'm thinking the Eiscue, because we have a scoop up net. Because if we put Mew VMAX in the active and then we can't get it out, especially there's a Galar Mine Stadium there, we could just lose 3 prizes. So let's see what we could do here. I think what I'm gonna do is just boss this Hoopa. That way they can't switch it. Hoopa can only deal damage if they switch. So now Hoopa won't be able to attack. It's trapped in the active. Hopefully they don't have any switch or hiding energy to get it out of the active. Otherwise our Mew VMAX is gone. So with that, I can even use Eiscue's attack and deal some bench damage here. For the meantime, I'm just gonna build up my Mew V. It's a secondary attacker. We did get another power tablet, but I think what I'm gonna do is just finish off the Crobat V, get another 2 prizes off of that, and yeah, there you go. And that's what I mean with the Eiscue, man. It's actually really nice to have a bench hitting option with Mew VMAX. So now you have a lot of versatility. They're gonna attach a air balloon on Hoopa, but that's not gonna be enough because they need another energy to get it out of the active. And if they do switch into Eternatus VMAX, I mean, they have to build up their bench, but they could knock out my Mew VMAX. And they're gonna shuffle back with their Marnie, our Collapse Stadium, which we might actually need, but they're not gonna be able to retreat or attack, so we're gonna take that to our advantage. I'm just gonna use this Pile Pad to get 2 of our boss. All we need to do is boss probably that Crobat, and we're gonna win this game. Sure enough, there it is, guys. Against an Eternatus VMAX, we are actually gonna win this one. So let's just boss this Crobat V in the active. This is insane, man. Despite the disadvantage, I think I'm just gonna finish this guy off. Cross Fusion Strike, Techno Blast for the win against an Eternatus VMAX build. Good game, man. Good game. Alright, moving on to our next match. We have 2 Genesect Vs to start, which is really nice. It's always nice to have more than 1 Genesect V to start because you can draw into a lot of cards. You just need basic Pokemon on your bench so that you can draw into a lot more cards. Okay, we are going up against a Leafeon VMAX, what it looks like. So Leafeon V has Greening Cells, which is the ability that allows it to get an energy and attach it to itself while it ends their turn. So what I'm going to do here is just use Ultra Ball. I'm just going to sacrifice these 2. We have Pal Pad to recover them if we need it. And I'm just going to get a Mew V and charge it up with Double Turbo Energy. I can use Elesa Sparkle, but for the meantime, I'm just going to use Rotom Phone for now. Get Meloetta. We can draw into 2 cards. Okay, we get Meloetta. And then I can use Elesa Sparkle for the meantime. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Let's attach these to these 2. Can draw into 3 cards here. Okay, not much to do here, so I'm just gonna pass. Because even if we use Escape Rope, it's our first turn, so we can't attack. They're gonna evolve into a Leafeon VMAX. The good thing about this matchup is that Mew VMAX has 0 retreat cost. So even with the Galar Mine Stadium, which I know my opponent plays, it's not going to deal as much damage against our Mew VMAX. Although our Genesect V already has 2 retreat costs to it, so when my opponent uses Grass Knot, it's going to deal a lot of damage despite the resistance of our Genesect V. So, yeah, Leafeon VMAX is just super powerful. But hopefully we can counter it. Let's see what we can do here. They're not going to be able to attack, dude. I am surprised. Let me set my Eiscue on the bench. And I'm just going to use Marnie. Just going to limit their hand size to 4. And then can use Rotom Phone here. Can't use VIP Pass anymore. And what I'm gonna do here is just get a power tablet, I think. Use the choice belt on Mew V. And I'll just switch it into the active. Draw into more cards. Hopefully I can get a Mew VMAX. That's what I'm hoping for. There it is. So we can actually attack for a hefty amount of damage against this Leafeon VMAX. Man, Genesect V is just such a powerful draw engine, man. I gotta say. It's a Fusion Strike system once more. I don't want to use Cramomatic because I need that power tablet. I need to save it. And we're actually going to use it this turn. And we're just going to deal as much damage as we can against this Leafeon VMAX. We won't knock it out, but we can deal enough damage to prevent it from healing enough where it might take 2 more damage to knock it out. So it's within knockout range on our next turn, and they wouldn't be able to knock out our Mew VMAX this turn anyways. And they're also using Shaymin V. That one you have to be careful because Shaymin V or VMAX actually base its attack depending on how many prize card your opponent has already taken. So I think they are depending on us to knock out this Leafeon VMAX, but they're going to use Greening Cells to energize it, but it's just going to get knocked out, so I'm not sure why they did that. We got heads from our Cramomatic, which is really nice. And I'm just going to get Fusion Strike energy here. And I'm going to do here is just continue to draw for the meantime. We got a boss. I could boss this dude and trap it with their Galar Mine. See what else we can get here. Okay. Just gonna use Fusion Strike and Block Slider to knock out their Leafeon VMAX while trapping their Pokemon in the active. We got another Mew VMAX, Meloetta, and an Escape Rope, which is really nice. So their Bibarel is trapped in the active now. Even if they have Air Balloon, they won't be able to escape with it. And they're going to use Raihan. Let's see which one they're going to power up. They're going to power up Shaymin V. Okay. So my plan here is if they cannot get this Bibarel out of the active, I'm just going to continue to snipe. But you know what? They have a switch, so they're going to switch their Shaymin V. Okay, so they're going to draw into more cards with Bibarel. So Bibarel is kind of like Genesect V, actually. Genesect V is more powerful within the Fusion Strike, but Bibarel is just a generally strong draw support. They're dealing 180 damage, man. For 2 energies, that's a lot of damage. I'm going to evolve into another Mew VMAX. And then... let's see here. Let's use Escape Rope. Maybe we can... that's going to trap one of their Pokemon. Okay, they're going to switch into... oh, you know what? We don't have energy, though. So I'm just going to use Marnie here. Okay. We got a double turbo energy, which is nice. Yeah, let's attach that to our active, and I'm just going to continue to draw. Another Escape Rope. I'm just going to attack, and I'm going to continue to snipe this Leafeon VMAX. All we need is 3 prizes anyways. I'm not going to knock out any more Pokemon, because like I said, Shaymin VMAX bases its attack power depending on how many prizes your opponent has already taken. They're gonna boss my Mew VMAX. If they can switch out their Shaymin V, they can knock out my Mew VMAX. They're gonna get 3 prizes for that. But all the while, I'm just gonna continue to focus on their Leafeon VMAX. So if they can't get this Shaymin V out of the active, all I could do is just, even my Mew VMAX in the active can copy Eiscue's attack and continue to snipe Leafeon VMAX. But they're gonna use their VStar ability, or ability, and heal their Leafeon VMAX. So oh, that's that was a good move. So we're gonna take 2 more turns then to knock it out. But now they're running out of cards on hand, and they're just gonna pass. So what I'm gonna do here is, let's see, I'm just gonna use Fusion Strike, Block Slider, and I'm just gonna continue to target this Leafeon VMAX, man. If they cannot heal it anymore, all we need is 1 more turn and knock it out. If they can't escape their Shaymin VMAX, that's it. And even if they knock out my Mew VMAX in the active, we have another Mew VMAX, and we're going to be able to deal 1 more blow to knock out their Leafeon. So let's see what my opponent does here. Revenge Blast is a powerful attack bank. Look at that, 270 damage with a Choice Belt, and also because we already took 3 prizes, that's a lot of damage, man. So they're gonna get 3 prizes from that. Just gonna switch into Eiscue. I could just scoop it up anyways. And I'm just gonna use Ultra Ball. Get rid of these 2. We don't need that anymore. Okay. Might as well just get another Mew V, I guess. And then, yeah, let's scoop up Eiscue so we can use Mew VMAX. Unfortunately, our attack will not get increased with the power tablet, and because of the double turbo energy, it actually decreases our attack power. So that actually prevents us from knocking out their Leafeon VMAX. If we had telescopic sight, we would have been able to knock it out by now, but as it is, you know, it is what it is. At least my opponent will not be able to win this game as of yet, because they can target one of my 2 prizes on the bench, but they're not gonna get 3 prizes from any of my other Pokemon here, unless they can knock out my Mew VMAX in the active. But they're not dealing enough damage with any of their Pokemon, because again, the 0 retreat cost of Mew VMAX actually helps out decrease Leafeon VMAX's attack. They can hit for 170 with Mew VMAX, and 270 damage with Shaymin V. But you know what? We're gonna take this one home. Cross Fusion Strike, Block Slider, knock out their Leafeon VMAX for the win. There it is, guys. Good game. Alright, moving on. So far, you know, the Eiscue attack within this Mew VMAX has been really helpful, actually. I've been winning a lot of games with this, and even if your opponent has a has something that can block your Eiscue, you can still use this build as if it's just a regular Mew VMAX build. So we're actually going against a Gengar VMAX build, so this is a little scary. So I'll attach a telescopic sight on my Mew V in the active. I don't think they can knock us out anytime soon here, because they won't be able to evolve into... Ooh, we got Tails. Let's draw into more cards. We got an Eiscue, that's nice. And that's going to allow us to draw into 2 more cards with this other Genesect V. We got another Genesect V. Let's draw into 2 cards. I can use Ultra Ball, but I feel like I need a less Sparkle. Let me just put that there, then I'll just retreat into Genesect V. Because worst comes to worst, you know, if they are able to accelerate energy for some reason, our Mew V will just get knocked out. So that's not a good thing. I doubt my opponent's going to be able to build up their energy this turn anyways, because they won't be able to evolve into their Houndoom just yet. So they're just going to pass, attaching 1 single strike energy on their Gengar. But it is a little scary because they can knock out our Mew VMAX really easy. So I'll just spread out this Fusion Strike energies to both of these Genesect Vs. And then I'll attach a double turbo energy on my Mew V. Use my Stadium. We got a Power Tablet, which is nice. Draw into 1 card, or 2 cards here. We got a Meloetta, which is really, really good. So now we can continue to draw into a lot of cards this turn. I will sacrifice these 2 so I can get a Mew VMAX. So let's do that. And I'm hoping I can target that Houndour on their bench. Okay, we got a switch, which is really good. Because I don't want to use Escape Rope, because they're just going to switch into their Gengar. So, switch is good. Let's use Rotom Phone here. And we got Escape Rope, although we already have one. So what I'm gonna target is their Houndour. That's gonna prevent them from accelerating extra energy on their Gengar. So let's just finish that off, and we get a prize for that. Quick Ball. So the thing here is that if they don't have a switch, Crobat will get stuck in the active. They will need an energy to attach onto Crobat to get it out of the active, and that also means, though, that they cannot attach an energy to their Gengar V to attack. So now they are stuck. They will evolve into a Gengar VMAX, which is really scary. But again, if they don't have an energy, they won't be able to attach an energy. That's that. So we should be okay. But now, with the hiding energy on Crobat V, they can just retreat with it. But thankfully, they won't be able to attack. What I'm planning to do is just use Boss and boss that Gengar into the active. Again, if they don't have a switch, they can't switch it out. We can just trap it, and then yeah, I'm gonna be taking a risk that way, you know, because if my opponent has a energy to attach onto their Gengar and a switch, then we're done for. But for the meantime, I think I'm just gonna take a risk here. So attaching an energy on Meloetta is good. We can attack with it even if my Mew VMAX gets knocked out. So I'll just use Crush, Fusion Strike, Block Slider, and attack their Gengar VMAX for 170 damage. That's an insane damage there, thanks to the telescopic sight. Now we can just hit it for one more time, and we can knock it out. That's going to be a total of 340 damage against their Gengar VMAX, and we're going to get 3 prizes for that. So, you know, that's what's great about this Eiscue attack block slider, because it does give your Mew VMAX that option to hit the bench, which is really nice, and it makes a Mew VMAX build more of a control deck. You have this ability to control the field. So they're just gonna pass. We can just knock out this Gengar VMAX and get 3 prizes easily. Look at this. And they're just gonna scoop. There you have it, guys. Wow, good game. Alright, moving on to our next match. I will go first, and I'm gonna start off with the Meloetta to go into the active. And we have really nice cards to start, actually. We have Cramomatic. Hopefully we can succeed in coin flip there, and hoping to get a Battle VIP pass on our first turn. Okay, we got a Mew V from our top deck, which is good. Let's use Cramomatic. Nice. So that's gonna help us draw into Battle VIP Pass and then get 2 Genesect Vs from our deck onto the bench. It's gonna help us draw into a lot of cards. I do have a Quick Ball. Against this Lucario matchup, I think we don't need the Power Tablets, so I can sacrifice that. And I'm just gonna grab an Eiscue and continue to draw with our Genesect. Okay, we got another Genesect V. I can start trapping them with the Galar Mine Stadium. Scoop this guy up, and I'm gonna put Mew in the active. Because Meloetta, they can just easily knock it out, but Mew V, it has more HP and it is resistance to fighting, so we should be okay. We did get a double turbo energy, so now we can attack on our next turn. We have Ultra Ball. I can probably get a Mew VMAX with that, and we can start attacking our opponent. Even snipe their bench, seeing that their Pokemon doesn't actually have a lot of HP. But you know what? There it is. They have Manaphy, which will prevent us from attacking their bench. So that's not a good that's not a good card to go against. And they're gonna Marnie, so that's gonna shuffle all of my cards here to the bottom of my deck. Path to the Peak will not be useful against this matchup either. So we did get a boss from our top deck though, so that's good. So let's take care of this Manaphy first, because I'm thinking of just taking control of this matchup by just targeting my opponent's bench. So we did succeed with the Cramomatic, so I'll just grab a Mew VMAX from that. Let's draw into more cards. Put a Fusion Strike here, because we need to build up our Fusion Strike energy so we can attack for a lot of damage when we copy Meloetta or Eiscue's attack. So for the meantime, I'm just gonna use that so that I can use. I mean, we have Icicle Missile actually. Let's just use Icicle Missile because I haven't used that yet. 110 damage. You have to be careful with the double turbo energy, because I always forget that it reduces your attack by 20, and I always miscalculate each time I attack. So sometimes I just use Power Tablet for the sake of that way I'm always sure that I am hitting for enough damage against my opponent. So they're gonna bump out my Galar Mine Stadium. If they end up evolving into Lucario, man, Lucario is just a hard hitter, man. I gotta say, even against Mew VMAX, I think it's such a strong contender, and I believe it can deal a one-hit KO against a Mew VMAX as well. It's that powerful. That's why it's my favorite one prizer in the standard format right now. We're just gonna use Alessa Sparkle here to build up our attack damage output when we use Eiscue and Meloetta's attack, and we're just gonna continue to draw. Okay, just gonna use Cross Fusion Strike, and I'll just hit their draw engine. So I'm gonna target their Shinchino for the meantime. That's gonna help us control this matchup in a way that if we can prevent our opponent from drawing into the cards that they need, we might just be able to win this game and not let them set up their Lucario. Because like I said, if they can set up multiple Lucarios, they can even 2-hit KO our Mew VMAX. But you know what? They're also using Galarian Moltres in their deck. And since our Mew VMAX is weak against Dark type, we might just lose this this game, because Fiery Wrath is such a powerful attack. Depending on how many prizes your opponent has already taken, it's just gonna add to the damage output of Moltres. So if they can switch out this Riolu out of the active, and if they have an extra energy to put onto their Moltres, they're just gonna knock out our Mew VMAX, just like cutting butter, man. It's that easy to knock out my Mew VMAX with their Moltres. But if they cannot switch out, we might just be able to knock out their Moltres by using Eiscue's attack. I can just snipe it out of the game. But they don't have any switching option here. They're gonna put an energy on their Riolu, but they're not gonna be able to attack with their Moltres. So I think we're safe here. They already attached an energy on Riolu, so that means they're not gonna be able to attack with their Moltres. They could evolve into a Lucario here, and they could attack, but I don't think it's going to deal enough damage against our Mew VMAX. Again, Mew VMAX is resistant to fighting, so that's going to decrease their attack damage output. But they do have a choice belt, so they're still gonna deal a hefty amount of damage, I gotta say. So yeah, never underestimate Lucario builds. I feel like it's the best one out there. It's basically on the top level. It's almost near there with Malamar, but they're not gonna attack. I'm not sure why they didn't attack. They could just they could just deal a chip damage against our Mew VMAX, but they didn't do that. I'm just gonna get my boss then on the top of our deck with Rotom Phone. You can draw into that. What I'm gonna try and do here is trap one of their Pokemon, and hopefully we can get a Galar Mine. We still have one Galar Mine on our deck, so we could still use that to disrupt our opponent by preventing them from retreating. I mean, we can even disrupt them even with a collapsed stadium here. But, I mean, we still can't find it. Telescopic Sight's not going to be good in this matchup because we're not going against Pokemon V. We do have an escape rope though. Can prevent this active from attacking. I think what they're trying to do is build up their energy, but since Lucario is weak against Psychic, I don't think it's a good idea to just leave that in the active. I mean, we don't have much option. What I could do is just trap this Cinccino in the active, and I'll just attack their Moltres with Block Slider right now, knocking it out, dealing 140 damage, minus 20 because of the double turbo energy. But at least we have that out of the way. We don't have to be worried about getting knocked out from that. We don't have to worry about our Mew VMAX from getting knocked out because of the Galarian Moltres. But my opponent is going to use Ordinary Rod. They are going to recover that and Manaphy. So they have two scary cards that actually is attack against our Mew VMAX build. So that's not good. And the only strategy I can really think of here is just to snipe their Pokemon and prevent them from building it up. But because Lucario, if they can just build up enough energy on their Lucario, I gotta say, I think they might just be able to one-hit KO my Mew VMAX. But it depends on the build too, because sometimes some Lucario builds, like with this one, because they have Moltres, they actually didn't equip it with enough energy to build up for a one-hit KO against Mew VMAX, because they have to incorporate the dark energy for Moltres, and that means they had to reduce the fighting energy. So we might actually just be okay against Lucario, and the only one that we really have to be worried about is the Moltres. But look at that, look at how much damage they are still able to deal even with just 4 energies. So that's insane, man. But I'm wishing that Mew V was on my bench. I can use his Psychic Leap attack, so I can shuffle all my Mew VMAX and everything attached back to the deck and remove this liability. Just gonna use Palpat to get 2 of my boss back to the deck. And what I'm thinking here is, since we have this big liability now on our board, I might just have to remove it using the Collapsed Stadium. So I'll just use Escape Rope here, switch my Mew into the bench, and it's just drawing to card here. We got a Mew V, so that's good. But I think I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna use Collapse Stadium, and then we can discard our Mew VMAX. Although, you know, we're losing an attacker here, that's gonna be bad. But Eiscue can still attack while it's in the active, so that's good. So let me just remove this. At least that's gonna prevent my opponent from taking 3 prizes. I'm just gonna use Block Slider and knock out their Lucario on their bench. We get a prize, we get a switch. But at least that limits their bench space to 4. They can put 1 more Pokemon in play. But I feel like they have everything they need. They just need to evolve into more Lucarios. And yeah. That was really good. Good though that we were able to knock out their Chinchino early game. It just made a lot of difference because now it just prevented my opponent from drawing into a lot of cards. So their setup has been very slow, and I feel like that really helped when we knocked out their Chinchino, thanks to Eiscue's attack. So they are building up their Lucario. They have a Bird Keeper to switch, draw 3 cards, and they're just gonna knock out my Eiscue for sure. So that's gonna be it's gonna be bad. I'm looking at my board now. I have all of my Fusion Strike spread out, and that's actually gonna prevent any of my other Pokemon from attacking. Meloetta will not be able to attack, and with since I only have 3 double turbo energies, we actually have 1 more energy left in this build. So I'll be relying on Mew VMAX to attack here. Hopefully it's not prized. So we have Mew VMAX. That's our only attacker. So I might just have to think this through, guys. I'm just thinning out my hand here as much as I can. Got Rotom Phone. Got a boss's order. I can use that to stall. I don't know. Should I bump out the Collapse Stadium? Because that is limiting their board right now. At least we have a boss's orders. I can probably try and stall. Put this Chinchino in the active. And yeah, we're just not drawing into anything right now. I'm just gonna put my Meloetta in the active because even if they end up attacking, they're gonna get 1 prize with Meloetta. So I'm just stalling for the meantime, and that will actually preserve the Fusion Strike energy on my Genesect V. So with Meloetta, we're only losing 1 prize until we hopefully we draw into the card that we need. But we also have a Meloetta on our hand that we can replace it with. So what I'm thinking here is that let's see, what's our win condition here? I mean, we're gonna win with just 2 more prizes, so we have to be very careful though. We're in a really tight spot here. We only have 1 attacker left basically, and that's Mew VMAX. Mew V is not even gonna be able to attack because it doesn't have purple energy on it. We need to evolve into Mew VMAX to win this game. If not, that's it. Okay, they're building up their Lucario. Wonder if they have energy. They don't have energy. They don't have energy on their deck. Okay. Alright, they're going to evolve into another Chinchino. So that's going to help them to draw into more cards. Okay. So removing the collapsed stadium, they're able to add one more Pokemon on their bench. They have Air Balloon on Chinchino, so they can freely retreat it. Okay. They can attack with Lucario. And that's gonna knock out my Meloetta. That's gonna discard 2 of their fighting energies. But that should slow them down because they need to recover it, unless they have a recovery item on their hand. Get another Mew V from our top deck, so that's good. So I'll just put both of these in the bench. Use our stadium. We got Ultra Ball, so I think I'll just use this to get my Mew VMAX. Now we can start attacking. So with their Lucario with no energy, we can actually snipe. Oh no, we can't because of Manaphy, dude. So what I'm afraid of here is that if in any way they're able to attack, they might just be able to knock out my Mew VMAX. Just gonna attach that telescopic sight, not that we need it, so that I can draw into a few more cards. And with that, I'm just gonna use Psychic Leap. That should be enough to knock out this Lucario, getting us one more prize. And we got an escape rope. Okay, cool. So the only thing is, yeah, Manaphy was a challenge, but good thing we were able to knock it out early on in the game, and that allowed us to kind of nitpick some of the Pokemon that they had. Knocking out their Chinchino early on in the game actually made a big difference against this matchup, slowing them down tremendously, and that actually got us a little bit ahead of this match. But I think that's one of the weaknesses that Mew has, because although Mew is a powerful card, if it's going against a one prizer and then the one prizer gets 3 prizes, while we have to win, we have to knock out 6 Pokemon, makes it a little bit weak in that respect. But with the option of Eiscue being able to snipe, it's actually really good. But you know what, dude, what is this? I totally forgot about the Galarian Moltres that my opponent had. They set it onto their bench, but they only have 2 energy. They only have 2 energies, dude. That was a close one, man. Alright, good game, good game. Alright, let's get into our next match. We got Genesect V to go into the active. We have Cramomatic. It's always good to have Cramomatic on the first turn, although it's based on chance, so it really depends whether or not you can get heads on that. We got 2 Cram though, so that's good, and an Eiscue, so that's good. We use Cramomatic first. Get rid of this because we don't really need that. We got heads, which is really good. Always go for the Battle VIP pass when you can, so you can set up your basic Pokemon. And the more basic Pokemon you have, of course, the more cards your Genesect V is able to draw. So now we have 4 Pokemon in play. I can use the other Cramomatic. Let's see, I can probably discard the switch. We didn't get heads off of that. Just sacrifice Marnie, and then I'll get Meloetta. And then I can draw with Genesect V. 2 more cards. We got a Mew VMAX, that's good. Let's use Escape Rope to switch Mew into the active. They're not going to be able to attack anyways because they have Arceus V as their starting Pokemon. Okay, we get Collapsed Stadium, which we might not need actually. So I'll just use Quick Ball to get another Mew V, so we have a secondary attacker set up. And I'm just gonna pass. We didn't get any energies just yet, but we have Alessa Sparkle. We can use that on our next turn. And because it's our opponent's first turn going second, they won't be able to evolve their Pokemon yet. So we might just be able to knock it out using Meloetta's attack. Because we have Mew VMAX all ready to go. And my opponent is using a Arceus V Duraludon VMAX build. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. Very interesting matchup. Hopefully I can showcase something really good with this matchup. They're going to use Boost Shake. And they're going to evolve into Duraludon VMAX. I think they're hoping to block Mew VMAX's attack. So I'm just going to evolve into Mew VMAX. And I'm going to use Alessa Sparkle. Let's attach these two energies to my Mew VMAX and my Mew V. Use this to increase attack and thin out our hand. Hopefully we can draw into an energy here. We did not get any energies just yet. But we have Rotom Phone. Give me an energy. No energy. I need I need an energy. Let me get that power tablet on the top. And there it is, guys. Path to the Peak is going to help us with this matchup. And you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to continue to draw. Hopefully we get an energy. We did get a double turbo energy. So that's good. Use this. And I think we can use even Techno Blast to just knock out this Arceus V. Guaranteeing that they're not going to use it to energize their Duraludon VMAX. So now their Duraludon VMAX is just a sitting duck. They won't be able to energize it to use its Gmax pulverization. It needs 1 fighting and 2 metal energy, which is kind of an awkward energy requirement. And without Arceus V to energize, it's just gonna sit there until they energize it. So we can actually switch into our Mew VMAX, and we can target their other Duraludon V while it's still not immune to our attacks. So I'll use Alessa Sparkle to increase our attack. We can use Meloetta's attack with an increased damage. Use Escape Rope to switch their Pokemon. Switch their Duraludon V. And I'm just going to continue to draw into more cards. Let's see, Rotom Phone. Could just get Galar Mine on the top deck, because they only have 2 Pokemon anyway, so there's really nothing we need at this point. I'll just draw into another card. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll just attack here and knock out their Duraludon V, hitting for 290 damage. So if we're hitting for 290 damage, this Duraludon VMAX has 330. We just need 2 power tablets to knock it out. We already used 1, and they're just going to stall by bossing our Genesect V. So let's just put our Mew VMAX in the active. And we got this game basically already. I just need 1 more power tablet. Just going to use Ultra Ball to thin out my hand. We have 1 power tablet ready to go. All we have to do is use Path to the Peak to turn off their ability and be able to knock it out. So let's put this energy on Mew V. Use the power tablet. Fusion Strike System. Hopefully we can draw into another power tablet, which we do. And we are basically knocking this guy out already. But let's see if we can get another power tablet. 1 more power tablet and see how much damage we can deal here. There it is. You know what? That's it. Path to the Peak. And guess what, guys? Cross Fusion Strike. Melodious Echo for a one-hit KO against Duraludon VMAX. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to smash the like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching the Popsicle Night channel, and as always, stay safe and have a great day.